Hey, and welcome back to Alex Talking. Another beautiful day here from Denver, Colorado, and I have seen the new Scary Movie twice. I am so excited to talk about it today because this is a movie that I've been looking forward to for a long time. Some might say my whole life because I was a kid that insisted my parents show me Scary Movie because I really liked the cover of the VHS, and I was like, "What's that? What's that? What's that?" Whenever I was like 3 or 4, and then the opening of Scary Movie is just parodying the opening of Scream, but with Carmen Electra. But even though it's all saying stupid shit and just doing stupid shit with a hot chick, whenever you're like 3 and 4 and have that level of cognition, it's still just the opening of Scream to you and scary as hell. And so we always would watch it and see how far we could get before I ran out of the room. Which is insane to look back on now. Because, like, what happened if I would make it all the way to whenever he stabs the silicone out of her tip? But luckily, I didn't make it that long. All that being said, to say that my relationship with Scary Movie goes back a very long time. And I then grew up through middle school watching Scary Movie 3 and 4 with my friends who loved them especially. My friend Eli, like, certified classics in his family, those two movies. And in my family, the first two are really well liked. My parents thought the first two are funny, whereas they don't really like the later ones as much. So I like 1 through 4. I think they're all good, and I've seen them all at least 5, 6 times. Um, Definitely 4 the least out of the original 4, but I still like it. But I genuinely have a ton of love in my heart for 1 through 3 specifically. And I guess the existence of 5, which is something I also fully remember coming out. I remember being on vacation in the Poconos um, whenever it came out on DVD, and I wanted to rent it from Walmart really bad in the red box. But Ashley Tisdale and Sarah Hyland from Modern Family, Mac Miller, Snoop Dogg are all in that movie. Um, I do not like the fifth movie at all. Shout out, I think that one was directed by Malcolm D. Lee, who made Space Jam: A New Legacy. Um, but no, I don't like the fifth one, and I think the existence of the fifth one made it so that this movie could have been extremely awful, and I would have been okay with it. And that's all to say that the sixth Scary Movie was not awful to me. I had a great time with it. Like I said, I've seen it twice. But if you told me you thought it was awful and that you had no love for it, I would understand. Because unfortunately, there's something here that is the most in line with the first one that they've had any of these movies be since the first one. And there's also elements here that are just so 2026 studio comedy. And that's only from the filmmaking perspective. And as much as I wish I could just fully turn my brain off, I'm able to turn my brain off enough to enjoy this movie. I can still say that I wish it had better filmmaking, and that if it was on the level of filmmaking of the first two, which I know sounds crazy, but I just mean like actual practical dummies and physical gags and just a little bit clever, more seamless weaving together of the actual story and what you're parodying and what you're referencing, I think could have gone a really long way to make this like as good as last year's Naked Gun. But as for what it is, it's still a really fun new scary movie. It is amazing to see Regina Hall, the weigh-ins, and oh my gosh, my girl Anna Faris back on the big screen. They were all making me laugh. This is one of a few movies where jokes from the trailer still made me laugh in the actual movie, and there were tons of other jokes that made me laugh. Like, I would be absolutely lying if I said I wasn't laughing on average every like 90 seconds. Um, I just saw Masters of the Universe in theaters this weekend. And I would say Masters of the Universe, I compare that to something like Michael Bay's Transformers, in that it's an action comedy that really, like, if you like it, no shade against you. I didn't like it whatsoever, though. And that's not me saying I think it's bad, whereas something like The Mandalorian and Grogu I thought was pretty bad. Or The Devil Wears Prada 2 was straight up bad. I think that there's a difference and a nuance where something like Masters of the Universe wasn't for me because it wasn't funny and because the action was too CGI and kiddie. But if that stuff doesn't bother you, then the movie objectively is fine. And like, if you know what I'm saying, like, I'm saying that there's a difference between thinking something's bad and something just not being your taste. And I think that this scary movie, in a weird way, is sort of like a very successful version of, I think, anybody who actually likes scary movie a lot and has love for these characters and these actors especially. I think you just have a good time with this. I think that it's going to be funny to you because it is funny if you like Marlon Wayans. Now, there's some shit that is also going to be extremely unfunny to you because I watched the original first two scary movies and there are bits that go on for way too long. And the first part of the joke doesn't get a laugh out of me. So, sure as hell, the 10th time they're doing it's not going to get a laugh out of me. That same exact formula is present here. So, like, if that sort of thing's going to bother you, there's a very good chance, one, that this has a lower hit rate for you because you'll be older than you were the first time that you saw the original scary movie. And two, because there's something inherently just less funny seeing it this time around because it's less fresh. So, if you don't have that much love for it, if you don't think that Regina Hall doing a Ma impression for the entire movie and that being her only real joke is going to be funny, maybe it's not for you. But for me, that shit was fucking gas. Regina Hall Ma, so good. I have to say my personal favorite was the Final Destination roller coaster where everybody dies. That was one of those visual gags where towards the beginning of the movie I went, we're in good hands. We're making a scary movie. And as much as I did complain about Michael Titty's direction, and I just said one of my favorite jokes is a complete CGI background joke, we're living in a world where, yeah, you're getting CGI sight gags now. So that was a pretty good one. I think the third act is really funny. I think that the joke can be made that this Ghostface motivation is better than the Ghostface motivation in Scream 7. I think the third act was really, really fucking funny. And if anything, really tells you, oh, why wasn't the rest of the movie like that? Because on a second watch, I did have to say, on a second watch, the theater was a lot less lively. It wasn't a late night showing. I went before work, so it was at noon. There was probably half a theater there, and very few people were laughing out loud. But it focuses too much on the kids. You think they would only be making fun of that to an extent, but there are too many scenes of like Tuesday and her sister, Sarah, I think her name is, where it's like, why is it not just Cindy? Why is it not just Anna Faris doing funny shit? Because the older daughter, especially, I think her name was Sarah because it was a reference to Tara from Scream 5, which is weird because her sister's Tuesday, which is just two Jenna Ortega characters, and this one doesn't look anything like Jenna Ortega. But it also wasn't a like her character didn't act like anybody, if that makes sense. Like, or did like it didn't feel like a parody character so much as just a stupid character. She felt like she was parodying Anna Faris. Is that fair to say? Like, her line deliveries and the way she even like opened her eyes and stuff like that was very much so. The only parody reference I got was Anna Faris. Now, she had lines like, this that good, this that shit that makes me want to take my clothes off and juggle some knives, that Britney Spears shit. Like, she's got some moments, but overall, the kids are not that funny. They should have only been there to serve the adults, whereas you get scenes like exactly what you'd like the worst scenes of this movie, or the scenes where it's just what you would expect, where nothing's actually funny, where it's just Shorty talking to the kids, being like, "You're old, you're still Shorty though," and it's like, "Yep, he's old, he's still Shorty though." Whereas I would have just rathered him be Shorty. That being said, It's all superfluous, man. It was so good to see all these actors back, and they made me laugh. And at the end of the day, that's what's important. I wish the Get Out reference was funnier. No spoilers, but if you've seen the movie, um, once the whole scene of Ghostface and Shorty talking that you see in the trailer a little bit of him getting sucked into the chair, that whole scene was funny. That made me laugh. And then he gets sucked into the hole, and it was like, guys, we're referencing horror movies. And you know what? I'm fine with having a little bit of one battle after another sprinkled in here or there, but like K-pop, really? Like that went on for too long. And on a second watch with nobody laughing, dead silent, painful. Painful. I would fast forward through that when I watch it at home to give context for how much that was probably actually like hands down my least favorite joke in the movie, just because that is not anything for me. I have never listened to K-pop, watch anime, nothing like that did anything for me, and it was really, really like when you want to talk about sitting there awkwardly for 2 minutes not laughing at anything, that takes the cake. But fortunately, that was not most of the movie. Most of the movie I was spent laughing my ass off. I wish stuff wasn't spoiled in the trailer, but that was my fault for watching the trailer. Like the Art the Clown sequence would have been way funnier if I didn't know every punchline and every gag, but that got people's asses in seats, I guess. This is having the biggest opening weekend in scary movie history, and good for them. I need a Scary Movie 7 where we get Shorty in the back rooms and Cindy fighting or going full, Indy Navarette, Nikki from Obsession mode. That would be great. I think it's so awesome that horror is in such a healthy place that they're already going to have tons of material to work with. I wish they could have done more with weapons, but I also know the way the movie industry works that they probably were lucky to have anything weapons at all in this movie because of when it was filmed. But I think that it did a good job of referencing most horror movies. I wish they got more, and I wish they did a little bit more. Some of them, like I wish Long Legs. I wish that was a little bit funnier. The substance, the substance delivered. The substance joke was great. Um, it's just what I was saying earlier about how this goes back to the first movie. It goes back to the first movie in the way that it's the only one that is a slasher. It like literally acts like Ghostface is the iconic mascot of the franchise, but Ghostface only ever appears in the first Scary Movie. Um, every other one is like the second one's a possession and haunted house parody movie. The third one is aliens. The fourth one is, I guess, saw traps and War of the Worlds, I think. So even more aliens. Um, yeah, it's War of the Worlds and Saw is the fourth one, I think, and the fifth one's found footage. Um, so this is the first one to go back to that slasher formula, and I think that served to simplify it and let it make fun of requels so much. Even if I just wish it did a little bit more full-fledged movie parody, a little too much social commentary and political parody for my liking. But whenever it did do movie parody and movie jokes, that's where it was at its best. And I hope that the sequel and the seventh one only improves it. But between this, Naked Gun last year, Jackass later this month, um, we're getting some of my favorite comedy franchises back in theaters, and it's a lot of fun. This was a great time laughing in a dark room with a bunch of other brain dead scary movie fans. Everyone thought this shit was funny, and I look forward to seeing it a third time. So let me know what you thought down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me. And yeah, God bless. Have a great weekend.